Hi, welcome to Salento. I'm Jennifer.
And I'm Dennis.
Dennis, my husband. And today we wanted to do a video and share with you why we moved out of the United States and bought a house in southern Italy, sight unseen.
Well, I was actually retiring early.
He was retiring early. Our journey began with citizenship, right? He was pursuing citizenship application, and that took us
Probably about 3 years.
a little over 3 years.
From start to finish. Just found out last month that I was officially recognized as an Italian citizen. So next process is my wife has to apply through marriage.
But while we were doing that, we started to plan for the future because since you wanted to retire, right, we knew that we wouldn't be able to stay in the United States because it was extremely expensive. And that was 3 years ago. So the costs, I know, since about 3 years ago have gone way up.
So we were actually looking at different places in the world. We were looking at the Caribbean, South, some South America, and we're like, why not Europe? Then we can
Mexico.
But Europe seemed to be a good option since we can get citizenship, and there's a lot of travel here. We can travel all through Europe, and it's actually easy to get around here because you have the train system. You can take a bus. You can fly. You can
accessible really to everywhere. But we mainly left because of healthcare.
Yeah, the healthcare.
Costs. Our healthcare costs per year were about $18,000 plus our deductible.
Yeah, and you would have to pay that up until you're 65 years old. So you'd have 15 more years of paying for that, and it doesn't stay at that price. It goes up every year you get older.
Every year you get an increase
and
on it.
And it wasn't like golden coverage. It was you still had a deductible
right
on top of that, and
so we knew we wouldn't be able to stay. We had to leave. So we said, okay, so if we wanted to come to somewhere in Europe, to be in Italy, right? Where's the best place in Italy for us to move? And we settled on southern Italy.
Southern Italy because it was more warm, kind of like what we're used to with a Florida climate, but less humid. It's more of a dry heat. It's flat. It's a little more flatter here with less hills. So it was easy for biking.
Right, than other parts of Italy, because in some parts of Italy there's cliffs, a lot of cliffs. And what we noticed now that we're here in southern Italy, in Salento, is that the towns are all very easy to get to. So if you want to ride your bicycle or if you're driving, it doesn't take an hour to go to the coast. It takes 15 minutes. So you don't have to, there's not a lot of natural obstructions to keep you from getting places quickly. You can get around very easily here.
Very easy to get around here. Easy to drive around here. There's not a lot of traffic.
No.
Not a lot of traffic lights. Not a lot of stop signs.
Lots of beautiful things to see too. There's a lot of beautiful scenery. There's a lot of nature, and
the one thing here is gas is really expensive because they go by the liter. But on the flip side, the engines are smaller in the cars, and you get more kilometers per.
You get more miles per gallon, so the tank lasts a lot longer than it would in the U.S.
Plus, the car insurance is a lot cheaper, about half.
And here you don't need your car all the time. You can take your car and go on a trip if you want to, go to the sea, go to the big major cities if you want to, but you don't actually need a car to go to the supermarket. You don't need a car to go out to dinner. You can pretty much walk.
We walk a lot. We walk the town a lot. You don't have to walk. We just like to walk. It's kind of another form of exercise that we do. So everything's like accessible. You don't have to jump in the car to go to the supermarket. We always, in Florida, you have to jump in the supermarket to go to any store.
Or if you forget milk, and you have to get back in the car and drive to the store. Here you can kind of just, maybe a 5 to 10 minute walk. You can be within, a whole choice of supermarkets to buy things. What else? Well, the reason why we left Florida, another reason why we left Florida, right, was the cost, but not just healthcare. Combined with the property taxes and our house insurance and our basic bills, we were at
probably about
$30,000 a year just
to survive.
No food and no car. So no car payment, no food, no car insurance. That's just to run the house and to be covered in case we got sick. So why we chose southern Italy, Right. We chose southern Italy.
Yeah, it's a cheaper cost of living here by far. It's much cheaper than the States. Some things have gone up here, but not as much as what I hear, back in the States. Inflation has, stuff in the stores have gone up a little bit, but not by a lot.
But sometimes it's by 10 cents
Yeah.
or 25 cents.
Yeah.
Milk isn't doubling. We get a liter of milk. Is it about $1?
Yeah.
For a liter of milk? Some of the brand names, maybe $1.50 for a liter of milk. But
I would say the main reason was the health insurance.
Insurance.
You can't retire early in the United States.
No.
At the health. I mean, you could go on the Obamacare, but
it was more expensive. Though.
you go broke. It's ridiculous, and then it's got like what $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 deductible.
So you can't even be sick.
For you to go on their healthcare system. Now the healthcare system here, when we applied, for each of us, it was a payment fee.
About 380 euros.
About 380 euros per person.
So for the whole year.
For the whole year.
Not 1 month. That was the whole year. But that was a comfort, right?
Yeah.
To know that now we don't have to worry about health insurance.
And we don't
We don't have to worry about getting sick. The only
Yeah.
reason why we wanted to make sure that we had health insurance is because if you get sick in the United States and you don't have insurance, you'll
go broke.
You'll go broke for the rest of your life.
But you don't have to use the public health system here. I mean, you could go private, but the doctor's visits are more affordable.
Very
It could be anywhere from 50 to 100 euros.
Yeah,
that's some people's copays in the United
right.
States.
Sometimes it's even more than that.
It's very reasonable here.
So another reason why we chose southern Italy, because we just showed up here. We never even visited. We didn't know where we were bought, where our house was that we bought.
Yeah.
When we actually bought it, we asked Davide to show us where in the town it was on his phone, because we didn't know even where in the town it was. So he actually did a walkthrough and showed us, and we're like, oh, okay, now we know where it is. But we had no idea where it was. So we did this on faith, really. We kind of just packed our bags and packed up the dog and our bicycles and bought plane tickets and just showed up.
We've met a lot of people here, a lot of expats, and even people that live here. They're very nice, very warm, friendly, welcoming.
We've met so many people here.
Yeah.
In such a short amount of time. Compared to Florida, that we could have lived up the street from neighbors on our street that we've never spoken to or never knew who they were.
Yeah, because people here like to socialize. I mean, that's a big thing at night. People go out here, they stay out late. You won't see.
They eat out in restaurants. They spend time with their families. They're not sitting in traffic all day. They work. People still go to work, but work isn't everything, and it shouldn't be. You should have a good work-life balance.
Yeah,
and
families are always out in the piazza
together.
The kids, the teenagers are hanging out in the piazza. They're on their phones, but they're all well behaved, well dressed.
Yeah,
here,
and they're nice and respectful towards
each other.
Each other and to older people too.
Yeah, I've never witnessed a fight or a brawl. You have to have about somebody pulling out
There's no
a
guns.
gun or something. I mean, you feel very safe here.
In Italy. They're not allowed. Well, you're not supposed to have guns. No guns. So no one's just walking around with a gun hidden. There's no guns. No politics. People don't talk about politics, really. They don't talk about
they probably do a little bit, because he's still trying to understand some of the Italian. But if you watch Italian TV, the news is like 5 seconds, and then it's back to the movie.
It's not even a minute.
It's not like the 24-hour.
Including the weather. It's only 1 minute.
It's not like the 24-hour news cycle in the United States where it's like jammed into your brain. It's here. They just do the headlines and that's it. It's back to the regular program.
So food.
Oh,
back to food.
The food is
Food is great.
Yeah.
The costs are reasonable.
Yeah, the vegetables. I mean,
and it's all fresh.
When you taste the tomato
everything
here,
is grown
it's
right
not like
in
a
this
tomato
area.
in the United States. I mean, the
nothing is like it is.
Tastes so much different. It's so much better.
All of the vegetables, lettuce, peppers, everything it's all grown here, so it doesn't need to get picked ahead of time to get transported across the states. It's all grown here, so everything's really fresh. At the same time, it goes bad a little more quickly than it would in the U.S. because they coat in the U.S. with wax and things on the vegetables, which they don't do here. So we end up shopping for the next day or two. We don't shop for 2 weeks and then keep all of that food for 2 weeks. We're buying fresh food all the time. And restaurants are not expensive.
Yeah. No, restaurants are pretty
very reasonable. And they don't rush you out, is what we love about restaurants here. In the U.S., you would sit down at the table and they're like, okay, here's your food, here's your drinks, okay, time to go. A lot of cafes,
they have your espressos or lattes or cappuccinos, whatever you want. You can just sit there.
Sit outside.
And just relax. You can bring your pet. They're all pet friendly.
Right. We bring Elsa, our dog, everywhere. We can with us. But the restaurants, what I love about them here also is they leave you alone. So you're allowed to eat in peace and socialize. So they give you your meal, and then you almost have to chase them down to find somebody to give you the bill if you need to leave, because they're not even bringing the bill over to you. Where in the U.S. they're like, oh, do you need anything else? Okay, and here's your bill. Okay, thank you. Time to leave, which is nice. So you can actually spend time and enjoy.
And I don't even know if we talked about this, but a reason why we moved here was the climate. I mean, it's hot. You know, it kind of gets hot like Florida, but it's less humid.
Right, but the winter here is mild.
And
you can spend.
Doesn't get like below freezing, and
you can spend most of the time outdoors all year round. In the summer, it gets a little warm in the middle of the day, but then at night it cools off, and there's always a breeze here.
But for road biking, which we like to do, it's perfect because you'll sweat a little bit, but you don't come back.
You won't be drenched
like
your
clothes are drenched and everything.
Too hot. And in the winter, what's the most that we wore? Like two layers, and the long cycling pants, and that was it. We didn't really need to do much more than that.
Plus for biking, I mean, if you don't like, big steep climbs, this is probably really good down here because it's more flat. I mean, you can find some climbs.
The coast.
Yeah, the coast.
So there's beautiful rides everywhere around here. So there's the coastline, because Salento is the heel of Italy. When we ride along the heel, you can... there's beaches, there's rock cliffs, there's...
The scenery is so beautiful.
Scenery is so
Going down the
beautiful.
country roads, I mean, you see like little churches, and then little shrines set up in the countryside. You see all the grapes growing.
Grapevines and olive trees. All of the olive trees didn't, we see a lot of olive trees. Some of the olive trees died years ago, but there's not all of them. So we see the olive trees, a lot of fruit trees. We're seeing, right now, what are we seeing? Pomegranates and apples, figs, and what else is there?
Apples.
A lot of apples, green apples, but the pomegranates we're seeing too. It's like, you can, as we're riding by, I'm like, those are pomegranates. You just want to stop off and pick some.
And we'll take videos as we, do more.
We're going to start doing...
Of our riding.
Riding,
see what we're
riding
seeing.
videos so that we could share that with you.
The property taxes here are much cheaper than the United States. If it's your primary residence, it's zero. If it's a second residence, it's based on your cadastral value, which could be anywhere from $20 to a couple of $100.
For the entire year. So they're almost non-existent.
Yeah.
And which...
I don't even consider it an issue. I mean, as far as utilities, electric is a little expensive, gas is a little expensive, but you don't really use electric that much because you can have your windows open more. In Florida, we never really opened the windows that much because then things would warp in the house from the humidity. So it was kind of like sealed shut, and the air conditioner was running 24 hours a day. But here you don't have to do that. I'm sure you'll get a big electric bill here if you ran it 24 hours a day.
Yeah,
but the climate's just
you don't
so
need.
much better.
It's not necessary to, because to have fresh air, have the windows open, and it's healthier that way to keep everything open. But we're looking forward to traveling too. So once we got rid of all of our guests, not that we got rid of them, and we had so many people visiting for the summer, because summer here in Salento is just great. It's all the people come from all over Italy and in other places in Europe to visit because it's nice and warm. The beaches are beautiful. And so now we had a lot of guests coming week after week. And now that everyone has gone home, we slowed down a little bit here. So we're going to start to do some car trips. So those we will document and share with you.
Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, press the like button.
And subscribe, and we'll keep you updated on all the new videos that we release. Take care.
Ciao.
Ciao.